The city was alive with noise and energy. The hustle and bustle of urban life created a symphony of sounds, from the honking of car horns to the chatter of people. People rushed by, busy with their day. Each person seemed to be in a hurry, focused on their own tasks and destinations, barely noticing those around them. Amidst the crowd, an old man struggled. His steps were slow and labored, and he seemed out of place in the sea of hurried faces. His name was Omar, and he carried heavy bags. These bags were filled with the fruits of his labor, fresh vegetables he had grown in his small garden. The bags held fresh vegetables from his garden. Omar was tired. His back ached from the weight, and his hands were calloused from years of hard work. He wanted to rest, but he had to sell his vegetables. This was his livelihood, and he couldn't afford to take a break, no matter how much his body protested. The sun beat down on Omar's back. The heat was relentless, making each step feel like a monumental effort. His legs ached with each step. The journey seemed endless, and the weight of the bags only added to his fatigue. He had been walking for hours. The distance between his home and the market felt like miles, and every minute felt like an eternity. Omar felt invisible in the crowd. Despite the throngs of people around him, he felt utterly alone, as if he were a ghost passing through the city. People bumped into him, but no one stopped to help. It was as if he were invisible, a mere obstacle in their path.
Another long day. Omar sighed deeply, feeling the weight of his burdens, both physical and emotional. He longed for a moment of respite, a kind word or a helping hand, but the city moved on, indifferent to his struggles. Despite the exhaustion, there was a spark of determination in Omar's eyes. He had faced many hardships in his life, and he knew he had to keep going. He remembered his garden, a place of peace and solace. The vibrant greens and the fresh scent of earth gave him a sense of purpose. Tending to his garden was his passion. It was where he felt most alive, where he could forget the weight of the world and lose himself in the simple joy of nurturing life. He also remembered the smiles of his neighbors when he shared his vegetables. Those moments of connection and gratitude made all the hard work worthwhile. Planting seeds was an act of hope for Omar. Each seed represented a new beginning, a promise of growth and renewal. He dreamed of the day when he could rest under the shade of a tree, content and at peace, knowing he had done his best. As the sun began to set, the city took on a different hue. The frenetic pace slowed, and a sense of calm began to settle over the streets. Omar finally found a bench and sat down with a sigh of relief. The weight of the bags lifted, if only for a moment, and he allowed himself to rest. With his eyes closed, he could almost imagine he was back in his garden, surrounded by the fruits of his labor and the warmth of the sun. Some people glanced at him as they walked by, but for the first time that day, Omar didn't feel invisible. He felt a sense of presence, of being part of the world around him. A faint smile crossed his lips. Despite the hardships, there was still hope. Tomorrow was another day, and with it came new possibilities. As nightfall approached and the city lights began to flicker on, Omar felt a renewed sense of determination. He would continue to carry his burdens, but he would also continue to find moments of joy and connection. With a deep breath, Omar stood up, ready to continue his journey. The road ahead was long, but he knew he had the strength to walk it. The city, now quieter and more peaceful, seemed to embrace him as he walked. Omar felt a sense of belonging, a connection to the world around him. And so, with determination in his heart and a renewed sense of purpose, Omar walked into the distance, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.
Mohammed was a young boy with a kind heart. He saw Omar struggling. Mohammed felt a pang of sympathy for the old man. Without hesitation, Mohammed approached Omar.
Sir, can I help you with those bags?
Omar was surprised by Mohammed's offer. He had been ignored all day. Omar looked into Mohammed's eyes and saw genuine concern.
Thank you, young man. You are very kind.
Mohammed took 2 of the heaviest bags. He was determined to help Omar, who had always been kind to him. The bags were filled with fresh produce from Omar's garden, a testament to his hard work and dedication. He was small but strong. His strength came not just from his muscles but from his heart. Mohammed had always admired Omar's wisdom and wanted to show his appreciation by helping him with the heavy lifting. Omar smiled, grateful for the help. He had seen many seasons come and go, and it warmed his heart to see the younger generation stepping up. He knew that Mohammed's assistance was not just about the physical labor, but about the bond they shared. They walked together through the city streets. The bustling city was a stark contrast to the peaceful garden where Omar spent most of his time. As they walked, they talked about life, dreams, and the future. Mohammed asked Omar about his vegetables. He was curious about the secrets behind Omar's thriving garden. "How do you manage to grow such amazing vegetables, Omar?" he asked, genuinely interested.
So, what kind of vegetables do you have here? I've seen tomatoes, but what else do you grow? Your garden seems to be a treasure trove of fresh produce.
Omar enjoyed talking to Mohammed. It reminded him of his younger days when he was eager to learn and full of questions. He saw a bit of himself in Mohammed and was happy to share his knowledge. He told stories of his garden. Each plant had a story, and Omar recounted them with passion. He spoke of the challenges he faced, the lessons he learned, and the joy of seeing his garden flourish. He explained how he grew the best tomatoes. "It's all about the soil," he said. "You have to nurture it, just like you would a child. Give it the right nutrients, and it will reward you with the best produce." Mohammed listened with wide-eyed wonder. He had never thought about gardening in such a profound way. Omar's words were like seeds, planting new ideas and perspectives in his mind. He had never met anyone who loved plants so much. Omar's passion was contagious, and Mohammed found himself wanting to learn more. He realized that there was so much wisdom to be gained from the older generation.
"These are the best tomatoes you'll ever taste." Omar's voice was filled with pride as he handed Mohammed a ripe, juicy tomato. "Try it," he said. "You'll see what I mean. I take great care in growing them. Every plant is like a child to me. I watch over them, protect them from harm, and ensure they have everything they need to thrive. It's a labor of love, and the results speak for themselves."
As they walked through the bustling market, Omar shared stories of his life with Mohammed. The market was alive with the sounds of vendors calling out their wares, the scent of spices filling the air, and the vibrant colors of fruits and vegetables creating a feast for the eyes. Omar's voice carried a sense of nostalgia as he began to recount his past. He talked about his childhood, a time when life was simpler, yet filled with its own set of challenges and joys. He showed Mohammed old photographs, black and white images that seemed to come alive with his vivid descriptions. He described his adventures in faraway lands, places that seemed almost mythical to young Mohammed. From the bustling streets of Cairo to the serene landscapes of the Swiss Alps, Omar's tales were filled with excitement and wonder. Mohammed was captivated, his eyes wide with amazement as he listened intently. He had never heard such fascinating tales before. Each story was a new adventure, a window into a world he had never known. The laughter they shared was genuine, a bond forming between the old and the young.
"When I was a boy, I traveled to places you wouldn't believe. The world was vast and full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. I remember the first time I saw the pyramids of Giza. It was like stepping into a different era. The world was so different back then. Cities were smaller, life was slower, and people seemed to have more time for each other. The old cityscapes, captured in black and white photos, told stories of a bygone era."
Mohammed learned about different cultures, each with its own unique traditions and custom. The market they walked through was a melting pot of diversity, a testament to the rich tapestry of human life. He heard about historical events that shaped the world, moments in time that defined generations. From the fall of empires to the rise of new nations, Omar's stories were a living history lesson. Omar's stories were better than any book Mohammed had ever read. They were filled with emotion, wisdom, and a depth of experience that only someone who had lived through those times could convey. Mohammed realized that wisdom came with age and experience. The stories Omar shared were not just tales of the past, but lessons for the future. They taught him about resilience, courage, and the importance of understanding one's heritage.
Wow, Mr. Omar, your stories are amazing. I feel like I've traveled the world with you and seen so many incredible things. I've learned so much from you today. Your stories have opened my eyes to a world beyond my own, and I can't wait to hear more.
Every day, Mohammed met Omar in the market.
I helped Omar carry his bags.
In return, I shared my wisdom with you, Mohammed.
Mohammed learned about history, Mohammed learned about geography, Mohammed learned about the natural world.
My mind expanded with each passing day.
He became more observant. He asked thoughtful questions.
I'm impressed by your eagerness to learn, Mohammed. I see potential in you.
Mohammed didn't keep his knowledge to himself.
I shared Omar's stories with my family and friends. I taught them about different cultures and the importance of respecting elders.
Mohammed's friends were amazed by his stories. They had never thought about the world beyond their city.
My knowledge inspired them to learn more.
They realized that wisdom could be found in unexpected places. Word spread throughout the city about Mohammed's kindness.
People were touched by his compassion for Omar.
They admired his thirst for knowledge.
The city decided to honor Mohammed.
A ceremony was held in the city square.
The mayor presented Mohammed with an award.
He praised Mohammed for his character.
He called him an example for everyone.
Omar stood beside Mohammed, beaming with pride.
Mohammed continued to help Omar.
He knew that Omar was getting older.
He wanted to make things easier for him.
Mohammed came up with an idea.
He would help Omar sell his vegetables.
Mohammed was a natural salesman.
He had a way with words.
He convinced people to buy Omar's fresh produce.
Omar was grateful for Mohammed's help.
He was able to rest more.
He had more time to spend with Mohammed. The bond between Mohammed and Omar grew stronger.
They were like grandfather and grandson.
Their friendship became a symbol of unity in the city.
People learned the importance of helping others.
The city became a more compassionate place.
People looked out for each other.
They were inspired by the example set by a young boy and an old man.
Brotherhood prevailed.
Years passed and Mohammed grew older.
He never forgot Omar's kindness.
He continued to visit him regularly.
They shared stories and laughter.
Their bond remained unbreakable.
Mohammed learned that true friendship is a precious gift.
He realized that helping others brings joy and fulfillment.
Omar's wisdom continued to guide him throughout his life.
The boy and the old man had changed each other's lives forever.